Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. My name is Steven and this is the Storytime channel. Today we have some malicious compliance stories and our first story of the day is by That Tired Potato. You want all the yellow flowers we have? No problem. I was freshly cross-trained onto the sales floor of my flower shop and had just started answering the phones by the registers. Incoming phone calls from guests are set up to go to the phone center lines first, but forward to the floor if no one answers. I was the lucky one to answer a particularly grumpy regular we'll call May. May already had issues with me because I was new, and I had issues with her because I don't let people walk all over me, customer or not. She also was generally a problematic customer. I was just her current target for being new. The phone call goes something like this. Local flower shop, this is OP speaking, how may I help you?
OP, no, I need someone else.
I'm sorry, no one else is available. A lie, but no one was near a phone. How can I help you, May?
I need yellow flowers.
What kind of flowers?
Just yellow flowers. Are you so slow you don't know what yellow flowers are?
Well, we have a large selection of yellow…
You know what, just give me all of them.
All of them?
Are you deaf? Yes, all of them. And charge it to my card on file so I can just grab them and go.
At this point, I wave over the sales manager and switch the call to speaker so he can hear it. Okay, so just clarifying, May, that you want all of the yellow flowers we have in stock and…
Yes, and charge it to my card. I've wasted enough time talking to you about it. I don't want to wait for my receipt at the counter. I'll be there in 2 hours.
I raise an eyebrow at the sales manager. He gives me a bewildered thumbs up and head nod, and I tell her we'll have it ready. Literally hundreds of bunches of flowers. We are the biggest florist in the state, and we get the mums in boxes of 24 and never less than 15 boxes a week. So that honestly took up the majority of it. The entire time, sales manager is saying how May will never actually take all of this, but he doesn't like people sassing off to his workers, so he was more than willing to play along. He did have the foresight to not charge her card, as when we finished ringing everything up, it came to a whopping $1,000 plus order. Between the two of us, and some helping hands here and there, some of the other sales clerks learned what happened. It took a good portion of those 2 hours to get everything together, and sales manager had to leave before we were finished to handle a different matter. May comes in, already glaring at me, and asks where her order is. I smile at her and gesture at the 20 or so buckets of yellow flowers surrounding the pickup area. It honestly looked like a display, we had so many buckets. While she's doing her best imitation of a suffocating fish, I tell her as nicely as possible, I just wanted to check that you wanted this order charged to one card since $1,000 is a lot of money. You could hear her brain short-circuit before she went beet red and said,
This isn't what I meant. Where is sales manager?
I call him over on the radio, and sure enough, as soon as he comes over, he's asking May if we pulled enough yellow flowers, and that we had more coming in early tomorrow morning if she wanted them. She starts stuttering about how this isn't what she ordered and how incompetent OP is, etc., until sales manager says, OP confirmed with you that you wanted all of the yellow flowers in stock, and these are all of the yellow flowers in stock. If you wanted specific flowers or quantities, you would have to specify those with our sales clerk when placing your order. At this point, she grabs an armful of daisies and some roses and stomps off to the registers. The store got a rather nasty email with me mentioned by name about my incompetency and rude behavior. But sales manager corroborated my side of the story, cameras showed I at least appeared nothing but friendly the whole interaction, and the number of other incidents regarding this particular guest basically ended with an, if you can't be nice to our workers, don't shop here, responding email. We were scolded for wasting 2 hours when we knew she wouldn't take all of it, and there were other things to do, but we did exactly what the customer said, so not much else happened repercussion-wise. So if you took this order and you knew that there was no way they were going to take all those flowers and it was going to be a lot of work, would you go ahead with it just for the malicious compliance? Let me know in the comments down below. Our next story is by Yuska Ruith. Be a model employee, but don't be too much of a model employee. I work PT for that big blue vest-wearing box store as a cashier. We recently got a new front manager who was a huge hypocrite. I got a verbal warning about things I talked about which made other employees uncomfortable. Yet she admitted to talking about not allowed subjects with another employee because he really didn't give a poop if they fired him. Yet she could not give me any examples and told me to just be less open and offensive and more of a model employee. Of course, everyone noticed I was not my usual happy lookout for others self. That was not required in the by-the-book manual. And I told them what was going on as much as I was able. If I revealed too much, I could have been written up for trying to find out what I had done so offensive that she couldn't give an example. My direct supervisor was speechless and not happy, as I tend to bring people's attitudes up. Cue malicious compliance. I am fast on a register. The company wants so many scans per hour. I usually do 25% over the goal and double what most cashiers do. So I bring the daily numbers up quite a bit. I asked around and found out what other cashiers were doing per hour, so I met their goals as close as possible, which of course killed the store goals. This manager also removed me from the self-checkout for most shifts where I knew most of the cheats and could spot the things not scanned. And of course, the loss number started climbing. My supervisor was confused at my scans, but I told her I was being a model employee, and she realized just how malicious I could be. Even our door watcher was upset that I was on regular cash because he was having to stop a lot more people who weren't scanning large items under their carts. Eventually, the manager asked my supervisor what was wrong with me because I was so quiet. Guess she forgot what she told me. And she was told I was being the model employee she asked me to be. Since I had no clue what I did to offend, I was just being not offensive. She couldn't confront me because not long after this, the global issue hit. And I took leave, and then the lost numbers really went through the roof, according to people I worked with. There just seems to be something fundamentally wrong with that process to begin with. How can you be reprimanded for something, but also not told what you're being reprimanded for? Yeah, you're being reprimanded for being offensive or saying too much or whatever, but you have to understand what it is that you did so that you can reform, you can be better, you can improve. Our next story is by Nightly Stars. Pep Squad isn't that important, Joni. So I grew up in a small Baptist town in Texas. If y'all know anything about the South and small towns, you'll know that if you live in a town of under 1,000, your life will be filled with Christianity and sports. I wasn't too much of a Christian, but I did play as many sports as possible. I also was the only person in my class that cared about college. I had the opportunity to enroll in a dual credit college class as a 12th grader. I took it. During this year, I was playing basketball, which meant at least 4 hours of practice daily, taking at least one college class, doing all my normal classes, and I also did Pep Squad. If you don't know what Pep Squad is, it's basically cheerleading for people that didn't want the uniforms or to do the actual cheers in front of everyone. We sat in the stands during the football games and cheered along, and we helped make signs and did so much for the football team. They did basically nothing for us in basketball, which seemed to only piss me off. So I had a college assignment due late one night that I hadn't had a chance to even start. I asked my Pep Squad proctor, Joni, name changed. She was a really uppity holier-than-thou Baptist. Her and her entire family, including her daughter in my class, are like that. If I could skip the meeting, since it was just us making some candy favors. She told me to my face, "It wouldn't be fair to the other girls if you get to miss out for an assignment while they're working hard." I had 1, never missed a meeting before, 2, kept my entire class afloat grades-wise since we were literally in primary school because I didn't care if they cheated off me, and 3, knew that she knew how important my college classes were. I also knew that if it had been her daughter, she would have raised heck about it. Joni ended up telling me that I had to make a decision, either focus on my classes or focus on Pep Squad. I told her, "Cool, I'm done then," and walked out. She summoned me to her room 2 weeks later and berated me for not telling her in a respectful way that I was quitting. I reminded her of her stupid ultimatum that she gave me and told her she was lucky I didn't tell either of my parents, seeing as my dad had worked at my school for literal decades and had a temper, and my mom would not hesitate in taking her out for that. They also wanted me to take my classes seriously, so they definitely would have torn her butt apart. She backed off and I passed that class with an A. After that, seeing as I was the loudest and stayed on beat with the drum and also had the only brain, somehow the Pep Squad sucked. I mean, come on, focus on your academic career or focus on the Pep Squad. Is that even a decision? You practically made the choice for OP. That's an easy see you later, I'm gonna go focus on my academics. This next story is by Vampire Wolf, downsized and told to take all my personal stuff. Will do, boss. I worked for a multinational company 10 years ago as the regional management running a two-way radio repair shop on the customer's main site. 6 direct report techs and an admin assistant. The techs rotated, but the admin assistant and I were there every day. Because I worked 205 to 250 hours every month in that office for 160 hours of salary, I had a few things there, as you can imagine. 2.5 years into working there, I had annoyed my boss and lost the company lotto, so I was one of 4 people he downsized that year. I expected it months earlier when he let the first one go, but wasn't going to work worrying about it. One Monday, my fresh tech was late and not answering his phone, and comes in 90 minutes late with my boss and HR in the vehicle. Guess today's the day. As part of the exit interview, they get to all personal property. Oh boy, time for some fun. Most people have 1 box. I ended up with 5. Coffee pot, toaster oven, microwave, my coveralls and boots. They tried to keep those, but I never submitted a bill. Oh, and my shelf of notebooks. Nothing was ever filed physically in my desk. My toolbox of electronic tools, soldering iron. By the time I was done boxing my stuff up, there was 2 well-equipped desks of 4, no microwave, a 40-cup coffee pot, and no USB serial cable to connect to the battery conditioner. Found out from my admin assistant that my boss had to spend just shy of $1,000 to re-outfit the shop that week before going home. I mean, if management knew how entrenched OP was, they had to be aware that this was a possibility, right? OP got fired, they took home everything that was theirs. I definitely wouldn't leave anything there that was mine, especially just to spite them, just if I have to bring home an extra microwave and toaster oven and whatnot. I'm not gonna let them keep that stuff after firing me. And our final story of the day is by Not Me Dude 73. To piggyback off an earlier story, take all your stuff home, we are letting you go. So January 19th, I was told when I clocked in that half of the machine operators on day shift, all of the night shift, and half of the maintenance staff are getting cut loose. Gather up all of my stuff so they can go through my toolbox and get it loaded. So I got everything all situated, got my 3 golf carts and the one I repaired back in the maintenance shop. The one I repaired had been sitting in the back of the shop for a long time. Since I bought myself 3 carts that didn't work and needed fixing up, I went ahead and fixed the company one too, on my dime. One of the bosses asked why I took his golf cart, one I had bought, and what was I doing. Explained that I was laid off with most everyone else and taking all my stuff home. He went to jump on the company-owned one, and I told him I needed to get my stuff off of it first. I put the 4 flat tires back on and took my variable speed controller out. I offered to sell any or all back to them or purchase the company one, but they declined. Cool with me. Made my 4 trips home with my stuff. I now have 2 carts on Craigslist for sale and will be keeping the 3rd. Sadly, with the way everything is going lately, a lot of layoffs are being pretty common at the moment, which is really a shame to hear about. That said, when you're let go, you're entitled to take all of your property back with you, and although it was attached to a company cart, they did themselves pay for those tires, and so they're entitled to take those tires back. Might have felt a little weird going and getting the tools and taking the tires off of the cart in front of whoever, but you gotta do what you gotta do. You can't let them take advantage of you like that, especially after firing you. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So if you have a favorite story of the day, let me know which story and why in the comments down below. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like, and if you haven't, subscribe and turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. No matter what you do, whether it's just viewing the video, liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, I appreciate the heck out of it. Every little thing that you do helps the channel grow that much more, and I can't thank you enough for it. So until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll be right here next time on the Storytime channel.